Cameras. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another night of the Esea Mountain Dew League EU edition. I am Darth Mike. This is Scriv. We're going to be bringing you the action today, and we've got an Csgo back-to-back, Csgo back-to-back games here, starting off against the undefeated Forze squad. How you feeling about this one?
I'm kind of excited. I think Forze have got a lot to prove. They very recently, actually, I was casting a tournament yesterday, and the day before that, they got knocked out in this kind of last chance qualifier. Didn't win a single series. They had 2 series to play. They didn't win a single one. And it was very, very surprising considering the caliber of the opponent. So it's a bit strange in recent history, but MDL is going really well for them. Some teams, as we've been talking a little bit, can be focusing a little less, let's say, on MDL, whereas I feel like Forza are really going for it. They want that Pro League spot. They want to prove to everybody, and they're just going to open up with the speediest of pistols, rushing up middle, and kind of, I think 3 players actually moving up middle and just working off of that. So, yeah, just obliterating the pistol round.
Yeah, talking about taking MDL seriously, putting their focus here, they're just going to come right out the gate. I mean, that's... what a way to get started. Admittedly, they haven't played that many games. They've only played, I think, 5 games on the season, so there's still a lot of CS to go through. I mean, for
a lot of teams, actually.
Yeah, we've been noticing
We were
this.
pointing that one out. And, like, you know, today there's been a lot of reschedules and all that kind of stuff. So much CS going on at the moment.
I think the last 2 weeks are pretty much going to be chock-a-block with matches, just as players try and cram them in before finals. So we're really not going to know, especially with EU. There's a little bit more of a picture for NA, more games have been played, but for EU, I don't think we're really going to know who's going to be in playoffs until the last week, in the last couple of days, really, to see how it shakes out. Nice flank here from Face Crack. Okay, not so nice. He's going to get caught. This round's dangerous. Furlan and Lemon now have some weapons to work with, and this is tricky because the 2 CTs are completely isolated. Jerry's going to have to hang on to this, and he will be up to the task. That's big play with the AUG, with the AUG, making it happen. That's a great angle to hold with the rifle. It may have been nerfed, but it's definitely still got its purposes. And that's one round where we see it used nicely. Still, that round, little close for comfort. That was definitely winnable by Csgo.
Yeah. However, we see, you know, obviously Csgo are forcing, so I feel like they've got a bit of time here to earn some money on the Force side of things. So that's all good. But yeah, I mean, that's the nature of Dust 2, though. You pull out a few strong pistols here and there, and suddenly things start to fall apart very quickly if you're not careful. And just Dust 2 in general, isn't it, really? It could be a bit of a crazy one. Okay, this is not quite what I meant by a crazy one.
Yeah, this is odd.
An out there decision. They take a pause, and the thing is, it's like if they'd have gone straight in for this is kind of the mind games, maybe. If they'd have gone straight in for this, I don't think Forze would have been expecting it so much. But because they've paused, they'd be like, okay, maybe they are actually going to buy up and try and be a bit cheeky. Flip, meanwhile, has gone into lower tunnels. Double spray down coming in for him. Swaps across to the Khalil. Can't quite get the lineup on the head fast enough, but still a 2-for-1 to begin for the CT side. That's really good, and now they have full knowledge of the fact that they've invested on the T side.
And look at the positioning as well. This map control is insane. Exapower is so far forward, watching in towards mid, and you've got a player coming into spawn who's promptly going to realize what's going on. Face Crack actually can't get away, but Exapower is going to be able to slide on into suicide. I don't know if he was spotted here. They're peppering some bullets to make it seem like he was, but I don't know yet. This is interesting. They've kind of been funneled back. Csgo, they were headed towards an A rotation, and then they encounter the player top, realize the information's given over, so they're grouping back up towards B. So it's going to be, again, left to an AUG to hold. This time, well, I was going to say in the hands of Almazer, but instead it's going to be Jerry who gets tested, as they are now moving down lower. Csgo just moving all over this map, trying to figure out what's going on. I think that lower tunnels push really sort of upset the apple cart for them. Exapower again going to get some information here as he's rapidly going to realize, hey, there's nobody in tunnels. Should spot them getting on towards the catwalk. He has spotted 1. Don't pull the trigger yet because there are 2 very exposed bodies. Oh, he's found them. There's 1. Can he get the second as well? That would drop the bomb. Sydney looking for it, looking to bring this back, but it's so dangerous. Now it's all going to be left to Grubby. who is being caught by the nade, who's being peppered down to low health, who's surrounded by his opponents and not going to be able to slip away. So nicely done from Forza to get aggressive positioning and sort of corral the Ego squad. They really didn't have any information through that whole map. They were just moving as a mass, trying to get out of the trap that they had fallen into, and they just never could quite escape.
So looking really good for the CT side early on. 3 in a row, probably going to be 4 in a row here. Just up against the Deagles for the most part, and then MHL on an eco. But yeah, I mean, 3 rounds, 4 rounds in a row here for Forze. Pretty nice. If they can keep this going on the CT side, would be shaping up to a pretty good first half, in fact. Probably going to be a slower round here from the T side. Got to be careful. I mean, we have seen some of these types of rounds come a bit close, but not going to be the case this time around. Berlin, the only one left, will manage to pick up a frag, gets his hands back onto the bomb, and could very well just rush up long here and maybe isolate some duels. However, not going to be the case. He's going to hide in pit, waiting for a flank to come in. It will, but look, they're all around here. There's no way that he makes it out alive. There's probably very little chance he makes it out with a single kill. That is the case. 4th for Forze. Only losing 1 player, looking good early on, building up some good bank. It is really interesting to see, though, these orgs. Like you say, it's still effective, but I think a lot of players just like the higher fire rate, particularly into the Krieg a little bit. You know, if you're having a spray fight kind of thing, the M4's got the exact same rate of fire, so I don't think quite has the same amount of damage, but in theory gives you a bit of a better fighting chance at most ranges.
It's interesting. Yeah. Ooh, that is a nutty shot. That's an aggressive play from the AWP, and it's majorly punished. I actually really like what they did to the AUG in terms of the nerf, so to speak, changing it. I think it made it a very situational gun, and I like the situations that Forza are putting it in. Not really right now, as Jerry's now making a play in towards mid, but when they're holding back B site, and then they're holding 1 player ramp, watching that sort of cat corner with the AUGs, I think that's a really effective position for the rifles to be in, just because you can scope in, you can really hold an angle tight, and it makes it very difficult to peek into those initial fights. So in that situation, I like it a lot. But you're right, when it comes to retakes, when it comes to those tight angles, when it comes to those unscoped spray battles, you're always going to be losing to the power of an AK on the 1 shot or the fire rate of the Krieg, and that's really going to make it a bit risky. Forze might actually be caught off here because there is some aggression coming through towards long, and nobody's in position. They moved everybody out. They opted to stack heavily towards the B bomb site instead, and actually to go for a literal stack in towards mid. So this has not paid off for them. They might catch this player rotating out of lower. That's going to be Grubby, who's trying to make a little noise, but he will have just heard the drop down, so he's got information as well. Interestingly, hesitation from Ego might have allowed them back through, but with the cross smokes going down, now the bomb site is going to falter. They still managed to get a kill, just the spam working out to find it on the cross, and so much damage being done either way with the utility, making this very awkward indeed. Big pick for Sydney. Will allow the bomb plant for sure. They've lost their flanker. They've lost Grubby in towards mid, though, and the boost up from Elevator is beautiful. This is so awkward either which way, but still long control from Ego. They might be able to see this one through. Looking for the first headshot. That's a big pick to find. There's no smoke to cover this off. They're just going to have to take the fight and attempt to defuse exposed. And with the AWP out there, I was going to say it's so tough, but if the AWP peeks back in and just gets the head erased, a little bit easier on that front. It's going to be Layman coming in, and he will eventually find the angle, but it was dangerously close. That is the first round on the board for Ego, but they only keep 1 alive, and that one really came down to the wire. That's weird, because they had the positioning, right? They had control of long. Nobody was in position. No one's on the A-bomb site. But they just slow it down. They haven't seen anything, but they're so cautious that they slow it down, and that allows Forza to sort of figure out what's going on, reposition to cover off the cross, get a pick on that cross, take out their lurker, and then all of a sudden you're in an even number situation on the retake, and kind of all fell apart. So good on them that they managed to get out of it with that long control, but they're in a risky situation now where they're fully back invested, and there's plenty of money available for the Forza side.
Yeah, definitely not the easiest of times. This is a bit more of an important round, I think, though. You know, it's nice to get the first on the board. They need to break this economy, and they need to break it quickly because Forze still got a fairly decent lead and could expand that lead exponentially at this point. Very aggressive out long from both sides. In fact, Racecrack cannot get across to the pit fast enough. Groovy will take him down. Let's take a fair amount of damage for his trouble, but ultimately it is a first pick going the way of the T side, which is a really nice start into a round that, like I've said, they really do need to be picking up perhaps a bit cleaner here as well than the previous. Still potential for Forze. They're floating in and around middle. They're unsure, you know, whether it's A or B. The idea here, I think, is, you know, if they do commit to the A hits, we can push up short quickly. Oh, Power, he does get one, but he's not expecting that next player. However, Furlan has got the cavalry coming his way, and he's not ready at all. Nade in hand, gets taken down. Power's still alive. Down goes Groovy, surely, from this Molotov. Surely it's got to spread to him. It's actually bounced off the wall. My bad. I thought they'd gone straight in towards that corner. Not the case. So he goes a bit unchecked. It's a nice little bait and switch. Sydney is so low. He's the one that's taken the brunt of the nade damage. Still alive, though. Still got potential to maybe find a frag or two, but no, not going to happen. Groovy going to have to go absolutely huge here, and I just don't quite see it happening. 1v4 has to come through for him. He will manage to find the first. He gets a little ahead of himself, but ultimately traded back, and the round will be taken by Forze. An immediate return. They also survive with 3. This is a pretty good way back in, Mike.
Yes, it is indeed. Getting that defuse through kit or no kit. They go for the non-kitted player. Flit's like, come on, bro. Let me defuse. I've been carrying this kit the whole time. He just won't let it happen. So nicely done, as you said. Great way to get back in because, well, so this was an interesting situation. The 2 force buys as opposed to the 1 force buy from Ego meant that Forze had more time to build up a little bit of extra capital. So then when Ego did win a gun round, there was still plenty of money to buy back into it. So they wind up in a situation where they're dueling out, and now they're going to be on another Eco. 4 CZs. Not something you've really seen since the CZ got nerfed long ago in a distant age. But definitely still some potential out of the machine pistols. It's going to be left to Almazer, who now has a Krieg instead of the AUG and is doing damage through the smoke. 2 players already so very low. He's going to have to hold on here. We'll find the first. He's looking for more. They're trying to overwhelm his position. Has some support from Flit, but Flit has to be careful because they're condensing angles with those pistols, and he needs to get away. It's actually going to be the nade to chase him through, and that is very nicely done. Problem is the bomb did go down, and it'll need to be recovered. And you've got a player on 2 health. You got a player on 19 health. And then Groovy, who's really got to do the bulk of the work if they're going to be able to get this plant and even, dare I say, dream of taking through the round.
Oh. Timing going to be everything here. Groovy's watching it, but Zapower double scopes, takes him down easily enough. I think they'll get the bomb plant, but that's it. No real shoe-in, no chance at the round. And at this point, Forze are feeling so confident in themselves, so, you know, solid in themselves that it's just not really any chance that, you know, the bomb being down is the difference maker, right? It's great. Ego we're going to buy up anyway. Does make it a bit more comfortable for them in terms of what they have in the reserve, I suppose, you know, going into the next round, whether they win or lose. But Forza are cool. They're just happy because what they're doing, their formula is working. It's not like those marginal differences of $800 are going to make a difference, right? Because it's a pretty big issue right now. Zapower to find another one as Furlan gets ahead of the smoke on the corner. And a 5v4 immediately off the bat. Double up setup as well that MHL is just not expecting. Flip playing around the default smoke, you know, that CTs so often throw. And a 2-man advantage in almost as many seconds, it feels like. A really, really quick beginning to this round.
That is one of the beautiful things about the double up setup on Dust 2. It's so effective, and it gives, what it does is it gives you primary opper freedom, right? Because then you have Flit holding towards mid. Whew, this is just, I mean, wow, they are getting absolutely full washed out of this. They haven't even had a chance to fire a shot back as of yet. They've barely even seen their opponents before they've been dead. It's left to Groovy to try and do this, and he's not even going to get an opportunity either. Almazer just has him read perfectly. So that was just beautiful from Forza. They anticipated the presence from every single T and just picked them apart with the AWPs. I mean, 2 kills out towards long, 1 kill from mid. Just bit by bit they get taken down, and that's devastating if you're Ego, because there's nothing you can take from that round. There's nothing you can, like, you can't even really, like, learn on it. It's just we didn't even get to what we tried to do. We didn't even get to execute our plan because we were dead before we could get into position. We were dead before we could try much of anything at all. Look at this aggressive play. I was talking about the double op opening up freedom on the primary opper, and that's exactly what it is. Exapower is watching lower, takes the aggro play, catches Grubby, who's been lurking there quite a bit these last few rounds, and now you've got a situation where you've got really aggressive control out towards long. You have Face Crack sitting right in the smoke. He's just gonna wait for them to come through. He gets 2, 3 for the price of 1. Never mind. Face Crack just gonna keep holding mouse 1 and cracking faces left, right, and center to secure another flawless round for Forza, and again a round where Ego didn't even get to attempt to take a site.
Yeah, I think we do need a pause after that one for everybody involved. Oh, man. Crazy stuff through the smoke.
Wow.
And it's just salt in the wound at this point, isn't it? You know? There you go. I mean, everything you're trying, it's just going wrong. It's just not working.
Yeah.
Forza have really come to play today, and it's just showing massively. Yeah, and it looks like it's going to continue a little bit. 9th round, easily on the board for the CTs, you would have thought. Oy. But yeah, they need to recover this back. I think, to be honest, going into the CT side, they need the rest of the rounds of this half.
Yes. Yes.
Would be nice to get this one, but you don't really give them much of a chance at it. But you never know. Although, the double-scoped flick onto a jumping player from Zepower. Maybe they're not going to have a chance at this. He's done so well, you know, moving around, being so versatile. He's such a massive part of this team, to be fair. So it's good to see him playing well. But this right now, we called us to the Orpus playground, and he is proving why. So good. And not a single player to fall once again. Forza are just dominating.
2 big opportunities there as well to at least catch a pick. But this is now 3 rounds in a row where not a body has dropped, and you can see it in the money. 3 players above 10k, extra power on 13. I mean, this money is ridiculous. All they have to reinvest into is utility. And here's the thing. Yes, extra power is hitting his shots. He's playing very effectively individually. But what he's really doing that's impressive is reading Ego. Here he's finally getting caught off, trying to go for a little bit of a cheeky play. But these last few rounds, they've just been reading it. First, there was the aggressive play towards checking lower, and that's just to check out Grubby's lurk. And as soon as he sees that, they know where the rest of the team is, because when Grubby's lurking tunnels alone, it means that it's a play towards long. So they put the player aggressively forward. That's Face Crack, who then turns it into 4 kills. Then you see the reaction where the Molotov goes into tunnel, so then Exapower immediately goes to check the catwalk so that he's watching the players come out lower, and that's again knowing that the Molotov's gonna funnel them back towards catwalk. This is finally a round where they've got something going for them. Face Crack's going to get checked. A little bit of over aggression out from the Forza side, maybe confidence flowing just a little bit too much. But you've got Flit and Jerry, and at this point, if Flit and Jerry can find 1 more kill of damage, I'd say it's worth it. That cross, not going to work out. If anything, I think the trigger was pulled on Jerry and then it hit Flit instead. But either way, the body's going to drop.
Goodness me. You could see it though, can't you? You could definitely see it. One of those moments where your heart just kind of skips a beat at the potential collateral.
Mid-air as well. They would have both been hopping.
Yeah. That would have been something else. But not going to happen, unfortunately. Jerry, what's the plan here? Is he floating around to try and go for a bit of a ninja
I think he just wants
defuse?
the pick.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think he knows that if he kills 1 more player, their money is poo-poo.
Yeah, that's true, actually. I don't know. I suppose they've got the money, but I feel like saving an AWP, or at the very least denying an AWP away from Ego, could have been a slightly better play, but then you're 9-2 up, so you go for something that's a little bit cocky. You can get on board with it, I suppose. But the thing is, if you're going to be cocky, you're going to have to kind of, you know, live up to the expectation. Yeah, exactly.
I like the idea there, because basically what you're saying is we've already got 9 rounds. If we get 10 rounds, it's an amazing half. So all we need to do is weaken their buy in this next round and give ourselves a better chance of taking through 1. And so if he takes 1 more rifle out of play there, you're seeing a really limited buy. You're already seeing 2 players who don't have a ton of utility. They've already dumped a lot of it, but there's 3 who had the full belt, and that's a big asset for the Ego side. So if you drop 1 more body, all of a sudden you've taken maybe half of that person's nades out of their hands. You've forced a major reinvestment. It would have changed it up a little bit. You certainly wouldn't have this money saved on MHL. It would have changed the engagement. Now it's just a question of whether, with everything they want, with the utility, with the rifles, Ego can chain two together. It's the big ask here.
Yeah. This is it. Need to get it rolling. Need to get it going. Get some momentum into the second half. No second or third map, you know, to come back from. And we are, as we kind of mentioned, getting down to the crunch time. To take a pretty big name here would be nice for them towards the tail end. You know, maybe playoffs are not quite what you're aiming for, but keeping your spot in MDL would be nice. Not having to play through relegation would be nice. Here we go, though. Mid-hit to come through. They are ready for it. One on the edge of the smoke. One just outside of B, and well, it works out pretty perfectly, at least for now. Groovy, this difference maker, one of the stronger names on this team, looking to try and pick things up, but he's going to have to find every single kill pretty much. Only got 10 seconds, not going to happen. He'll get taken down pretty easily without really doing any damage at all. A 10th round comes through from Forze, and this is the age-old issue of kind of waiting so long to get the ball rolling. It becomes very hard, right? Because at this point, sure, you get a nice round there, but your opponents have got way too much money, way too much momentum, way too much confidence. They're just reading you like a book. Mid to B smokes come in, so what? You know, we're ready. We're ready. My guy gets a kill on the edge of the smoke because he knows his spots, he knows his angles, and they just get demolished.
And here's the other thing as well. We were seeing a couple rounds like this round. Face Crack is just rocking out of long. That's maybe a little bit aggressive. And that was the round they lost 2 rounds ago. They got super aggressive. 3 players were pushing various sites. They had a player push into tunnels. They had a player push mid for an aggressive op peak. They had a player push long. And all 3 of those players lost their life. Then the next round, Forza goes, you know what? That was a little ridiculous, guys. Let's reel it back. We're confident. Maybe we still need to play these rounds seriously. So here you've got even numbers. Oh, go ahead.
Can have kind of the 1 or 2 disrespectful rounds, you know, where you play a little, you know, you shouldn't be doing this, but if it works, it's going to really get under their skin. But yeah, you just need that leading voice to call it back. The power, I think, blind there, fully blind, gets that no scope. Woo! 4v2, bomb dropped, round over, surely. Bit of a dink there. Fortunate for Laman that he's not able to find it. Furlan will get 1, but traded back, of course. Forza in control, unstoppable. Show no signs of slowing down. Hit the double digits, hit 11 on the first half of Dust 2, by the way, which we always talk about as being the most T-sided map in the game.
In the pool, without a doubt. I mean, not even. But Vertigo sometimes, depending on what the meta is on Vertigo.
Depending on what week it is.
Yeah, pretty much. But otherwise, Dust 2 all the way. I mean, this is brutal. And the thing is, Exapower is just doing whatever he wants. There's 2 kills for Face Crack. Exapower going to move into the angle. He does actually get checked in this round, but there's still the player in towards Pit, who can just kind of slow things down a little bit, take a bit of a check, dump his utility, and make a nuisance of himself, eating that nade straight to the face. It's a little more difficult. And the late lurk in from Grubby going to get another round. So at least they've got 3, maybe a 4th. They're certainly going to be up against a full buy, so it won't be easy for them. But there is a little glimmer of light at the end of this tunnel. This light may have shunned too late. As you said, when you get the ball rolling so late, I don't even think they've gotten the ball rolling here. It's sort of like,
well, yeah.
It's like it'll start and then it'll hit a speed bump and go flying for a little while, get back on track for a minute, and then go flying again. I mean, 3 isolated rounds. This is just, it's so tough to build off of. It's so tough to find anything really off of. Another pause. Is this going to be the solution? Is this pause the one where they figure it out? You can't see, but I can see the face he just made. And that face tells me, no, it is not.
Yeah, look, I mean, they might get the round, but I think the game itself, it would need something pretty incredible. This whole XCOM Ego combination thing that they've done is cool in terms of the orgs, I think, and maybe the fans and whatnot, but the players that they got, don't know whether they left or whether they chose to get rid of them as part of the merger or whatever, but there were, you know, the Illuminar boys seem to be performing a bit better. In this Ego side, there's not a great deal of names that stand out to me. Groovy is one that was making a lot of noise, a lot of waves when like Snatchy was in the lineup, PHR was in the lineup, you know. Either way, we'll see. B-Rush coming through. They're just going to move straight through the choke point, straight into Flit, the secondary orphan. Flash comes over the top. He's missing a fair few shots and will eventually get burnt down. Flit could have really ended the round there and then because they didn't deal with him quickly. But he was also somewhat panicked, you know, trying to find the frags. But quick flank from Facecrack. It's a very telegraphed B hit. He picks up 2 on the AUG once again. Slightly unorthodox weapon. Still definitely workable, as he shows, with a big little 3K to end the half. 12-3 in favor of the Russians. Absolute domination coming in. Ego with a few sporadic rounds here or there, but a couple of those you kind of have to look to and say, actually, I think it's Forze getting a bit ahead of themselves, getting a little overconfident, and sort of throwing the round, as they were.
Absolutely. At least that one gun round was definitely just a gimme. They were so excited. They were so frisky. They're like, all right, we're racing for frags now. Everybody push. And that's where it came back to bite them. So there really are no silver linings. I don't think there's a single silver lining or positive that I can really take away from that first half for Ego. There was no individual performance that stood out. They were getting outplayed 10 ways to Sunday. Every one of their strats was getting read. Forza was always in position to counter them out. They were always out fragging them in the pure ability. I mean, Exapower wasn't actually leading the scoreboard, but he was the most impressive to me in terms of the individual things that he did, especially that blinded no-scope out towards the top of long. Look at the adjustment. This is super aggressive from Grubby, and he has read this well. He's going to be able to hem them in towards long and get this fast flank on. Now it's just a question of being able to convert this position. He's already in the spot, but they're crossing the site, and so that may mean it doesn't matter. And all of Furlan's bullets, I think he just drew outlines on 3 different players as they cross through smoke. That always stings a little bit, and there's a player waiting for his flank.
Oh, okay. Nice. He was in the off angle. Still actually manages to find it. Jerry's got 2 to deal with now and not ready for it. Gets taken down, and they are cleaning house here. Looking good. Flit, can he find a single frag? No. So, flawless pistol from Ego. That is one way to begin things into this second half. Now, it's part of the issue. It actually works out for them. I was getting ready to mention and, you know, to show how this map can indeed be, you know, T-sided. Over at long there, it's like, if they'd have rushed forwards and found the frags, it's like Gruby's position is actually kind of useless because he has to walk for so long. If you start, because they could be anywhere in long. It's like, oh, they're long, but it's like, are they pit and hear me running if I start early? Or are they all just rushing up and me walking is going to make sure that I'm miles behind? Now, it works out for him eventually, and he gets a teammate, but it just kind of shows that it's like, you know, maybe on Mirage, if you say, oh, it's all A, you could quite easily rush through B and come behind them in quite good time, but on this map, it's really hard because long is so long. It's so hard to just kind of pinpoint where the T's are playing from.
This is kind of a weird round. This is the buy from Forza is old meta, if that makes sense. This is the one hero Krieg that you used to see, particularly from CIS teams, in the second round. So it's kind of the classic, I would say. But you don't really see it anymore. Usually teams will go for the full investment on the second round, get 2 Kriegs up, maybe some Deagles behind that, as much armor as possible, and really give themselves a shot at it. As it is, now they're just moving out with pistols on towards site. It's a question of whether they can cross, and Exapower might have gotten there in time. I think he is going to be able to punch in the numbers, so a successful round, to be quite frank, considering what they brought into it. Jerry is going to be limited in this next, but everybody else should be just fine to buy up. But that is weird. They are functioning counter to the typical meta right now. It's kind of curious to see that as a distinct choice from Forza. So we'll see if they have any more of those kind of, I guess the word is anachronistic, like out of time buy. Just it's a throwback.
Yeah, a little. Sort of worth mentioning, I think that I feel like it was seized, at least in this iteration. I know it used to be a thing back in 1.6. I think that's kind of where it comes from. But it was like Seized that started doing it when he was in-game leading for Gambit. So if that kind of gives you any idea, I feel like it was never as successful as it felt like it was with the frequency of it. Does that make sense?
It was bought more often than it worked.
Yeah. So, and you see here, this is kind of part of the reason as to why you don't really go for it, because you come into your first buy round, face crack is lacking in a sense. Now, the Deagle is pretty damn strong for $700 in the right hands, but it does limit him up close. It does limit him if he misses the first sort of 2 shots, I would say. But we'll see here. Orb for extra power, as we've seen, super effective. A lot of players coming through from short, if not all, as Almeza moves away from long. Baiting out some utility. Big nade damage comes through from Groovy, holding it nice and passive. He's going to get Molotov'd off the angle. A smoke will come through to allow him a bit of time to move round. Oh, the Kree gets one, but Laman is there with the trade. The Orgs, again, out. Kind of interesting to see that both these teams loving the Orgs, particularly on that CT side, you know, really going for it. Either way, Extra Power still alive. Lands a bit of a no-scope. Going to try and move in towards the site. Great flick from him. When this man's still alive, I mean, it's definitely doable for Forze. Needs to come over the top to try and do a bit of damage. I mean, chip damage done, certainly, but it's onto the AWPer. Almeza is pretty damn low, so I think a lot of this is going to come down to Extra Power playing contact. Finds one. Almeza being a nuisance over at short as well. Peeks at the right time. Can't quite get the spray down, but Sydney's got too many angles. He's in between short and sight. It's so awkward. And there you have it. Once the rifles come into play, Forza will clean things up. 13th round picked up, and it does seem that things are going to go back to the way they were.
Extra Power is so good. I mean, I can't talk about this enough. He is so good. I saw so the player Goose had a really interesting gap in the smoke that was put to use effectively. Finds one, thought he was going to find the second there, but Extra Power immediately realizes the situation. Just the info processing is so quick for him. He immediately realizes the situation, shrinks in towards the smoke, and then anticipates the player coming through and hits him with the no-scope. And that is a really intelligent way to play. Ooh, nice shots from Flip. That might just have been the nail in the coffin. They have bet it all on this round. They bet it all on black on the Ego side, and they've already lost 2 players. So they've still got 2 rifles to work with and an MP9, but honestly, this should be a save right off the bat. They are down to a 5v2. The bomb site has fallen. The bomb is going to be planted. They've got 2 M4s to try and hold on to, and basically no chance of seeing this round through, and Jerry's just going to keep hunting over, and it's all on MHL. He's not even really going to get the opportunity to think about saving, because he's already surrounded. There is no escape from this spot, and if they inch forward, they're going to realize exactly where he's playing from.
Tough, isn't it? Tough. They feel like they've got a bit of a shoe in, a bit of a chance back. But Forza just really coming to play today. I think this is part of the mentality as well, where it's like, as we've said, undefeated. Still got a fair amount of time to go, but you've got to be feeling good. XCOM Ego, in all honesty, not one of the scarier names in MDL this season.
They are 6-3.
Yeah, I mean, look, they do well against teams that I think is a bit close or that you'd expect them to beat.
Yeah.
But coming into a map like Dust 2 against 4, you know, second place, winners, sorry, of, no, they did come second. It was a Vanguard that won Moscow. I'm getting it all confused. But they came second. You know, they did also really well in the major, you know, about a month ago now. So they're a scary prospect. And like a lot of CIS teams, they've got so much individual talent. It just really, really shows on Dust 2. It's a really bad map, I think, to be taking them on. And Ego certainly showing, you know, without that pistol round in the second half, the game would be over. So, yeah, they really have not fought too well here. But look, they're not a terrible team. Don't get me wrong. They've made it. They're certainly in MDL, like, obviously.
They're just getting battered here.
But, yeah, I think against this caliber of team, Forza are not too frightened of Ego, for sure.
Interestingly for Forza, Dust 2 is one of their lowest win rate maps historically. So clearly someone's been putting in a little work on the server, because I was kind of wondering why Ego would veto into this, because they have not played Dust 2 yet this season in the MDL. But apparently they saw a bit of an opportunity, left this in the pool, and turns out they were entirely wrong about this one. So Forza now 10 chances to see through map point. 10 opportunities. And you've got a CT side with 4 AUGs, no kit, a single M1, and very little utility at this point. A smoke, a flash, and 2 HEs to try and hold them off. Certainly no AWP, no luxuries like that. It's a bare bones buy. But Extra Power putting a bullet into the back of Face Crack's head. Gonna try and make it a little easier for the opponents. He says, you know what? I'm having a lot of fun here. I don't want this to end yet. Let's just take down Face Crack real quick and see if we can't make it a challenge. It's a bit of a questionable one there. Bit of a questionable trigger pull.
A little lower next time, maybe. Oh, might get caught reloading here as well. Yeah, peeks around, thinking it's kind of safe while he's still in that animation. And Flit, well, he's been given a fantastic chance off the back of that. Gets 2, gets short control, opening the way up towards the site. Gets another as well. The Krieg really stepping up right now in the hands of the Master, apparently. Got to be a bit careful there. Did want to drop down towards CT. You can take an awful lot of damage, but not going to be required. Who better to finish the game? And Extra Power having a fantastic one, as Forze overall were pretty dominant stuff. 16-5. Pretty much unstoppable with the rifles. To be honest with you, I think that's just kind of the way that it was. Csgo on that T side, not able to string any together. And on the CT side, they only picked up the pistol and the subsequent up against, you know, a somewhat unorthodox, questionable kind of buy from Forza. So yeah, really, really dominant stuff from the Russian side. It really was.
It truly was, and that's what an insulting round to end on. Your opponent kills one of their own teammates, and they still absolutely stomp you. Flit with the 3K, Extra Power technically with the 3K too, although one of them was his own teammate. Still a dominant game from Forza. We're going to see if XCOM Csgo can recover into this next game, because we do have one more coming up. They're going to be taking on Nemiga, another team that's been pretty dangerous in the Mountain Dew League, so definitely a tough task to be sure. Although, I think yesterday they got 16-0'd, so maybe they need a bounce-back game of their own. All sorts of questions abound here, but we are going to find out the answers to them in just a moment. You're watching the Esea Mountain Dew League, and we will be